So I got a new hay ring. I just purchased this at Tractor Supply. Um, it comes in 3 pieces. Simply you bolt it together, just 6 bolts in total. So makes pretty quick work of that. And this it fit in the back of my pickup. I have a short bed truck with the tailgate down. It fits, so you can transport this one pretty easily. It's 8-foot diameter. Yeah, so I bought 6 round bales, supposedly 1,100 pounds each of Bermuda. And with the pasture I have, that should be good. And where I've been clearing the pasture up there and cutting the trees down, I've planted some wheat for the winter. I'll go up there and show you that in a little bit. But we'll see if we can get this. I assembled it here. I probably should just put it together up there where it goes. See if my chain technique works. With the round bells, I'll just move them around and feed in different areas here and try to get some seed down here. And it's good to have the excess hay trumped into the ground. For some of the firewood, I started cutting up the bigger stuff into firewood, which I may get a wood stove for myself. And then I'm about to move all this wire out of the way because I will have the cows in here and I don't want them around all this old wire. This is the wire from the fence that I took down, and then I rebuilt the fence with the goat wire. And just thinking how handy it was with this tractor. Since I do all the work myself out here, the tractor is essential. I mean, for moving heavy things around, I just couldn't do it without the loader, you know, and I was able to construct the fence myself with no help from anybody else. And without the tractor, I really don't think I could do that. This wire back in that corner out of the way, there's already a bunch of wire back there. And, I'll just stash it back there. Yeah, so it's September 15th today, and this time of year the snakes start migrating, going back to their den sites. You start seeing them, so you want to be especially careful, because we had a pygmy rattlesnake in the driveway, and we had a little fishing expedition this past weekend with some of my nieces and nephews. And they caught several big catfish out of the pond, but one of them discovered a pygmy rattlesnake at close range in the driveway. So that was very alarming. And I had been very happy because I had not seen a pygmy rattlesnake or a copperhead all summer long. And that just goes to show you should never let your guard down. And just always be vigilant, careful where you place your hands and feet. But they are city kids, so they're not used to having to be on the lookout for snakes and creatures like that. But luckily he saw it and went and got his grandpa, who dispatched it with a hoe. I know some people are against killing snakes, but if they're in the yard or in the driveway or have any chance of coming around the house, they have to go. I'm not a snake handler, and I'm not going to relocate snakes anywhere, but you know, a lot of people I hear, especially these younger people on YouTube, and they talk about how it's great to have copperheads and venomous snakes around your house to control the rodents. And I think a lot of these kids might do well to see the aftermath of these venomous snake bites, plenty of shows, Venom ER, to show exactly how tragic those bites can be. They think because they're so seldom fatal that they're not a big deal. Well, they are a big deal. And I'll tell you, for somebody who didn't have insurance that would cover the envenomation, it might take $250,000 in the hospital. So, anti-venom is, last I checked, about $12,000 a vial, and people can use 10, 20, 30 vials. So do the math. But yeah, regardless, it's not a good thing to have venomous snakes around your house. Let them go every time, but around the house, they're just not going to be here. Not for long. Not for long. There's a good reason you should wear long sleeve shirts when you're working with barbed wire. I've had my tetanus shot, so it should be fine. And sometime this winter I'd like to come in here and get this wire and haul it to a recycler, get rid of that stuff. You don't want that wire around the property. You know, the short pieces, cattle can eat it, and then you got big problems. Then you got a vet bill. And there's a praying mantis, pretty small one. He's as still as can be. They're pretty fascinating animals. I like praying mantises. They do a lot of good, getting rid of undesirable bugs. Yeah, so I think once I get all this cleared up and get the junk out of here with these big, tall oak trees, it's going to be really pretty here. Get the grass doing good, get all the rocks and junk out of here. But, let's move this wire out of my way where the calves can't get into it. I'll fence all this off. Pretty neat. So this soil is real poor. All of this green stuff is what I just planted, except for there's a patch right here that has a bunch of different green grasses that's been there all summer, And I remembered that I had buried a deer carcass there a couple years ago, so that just goes to show you how far fertilizer will go. I was the only spot out here. Everything else was pretty much devoid of grass in this area. But now that I've fertilized it, and I may put some more fertilizer after the wheat gets up a little more. But hopefully we'll get a rain in a few days and the rest of it can germinate. Yeah, pretty happy to have something green growing out here. And so like I said, I bought 6 round bales, and they seem to be good hay. And I don't have a spike, a hay spike. I may buy one, but I can roll them around with a tractor bucket just right up here. I don't have to take them far, so I'll probably forego that cost for this year anyway. But yeah, it's good Bermuda hay. I'm going to get a couple of those logs and roll them up on the logs, get them off the ground. And yeah, so that'll be good. And then in here, this little area's got a bunch of blue stem growing here, which is the first time. I haven't seen it here before until this year, so everything's doing good. And I fertilized all this area too. I think that'll be my next tractor implement, is a fertilizer spreader, and I can use it to also broadcast seed. This wheat seed, you can just broadcast it and it germinates and grows fine. It'd be better with a pasture drill, but those are super expensive, and the soil's so rocky I don't think it would do too well. So if you recall from the previous videos I made a few weeks ago where I cleared this area in here, I've still got more to clear, but I went ahead and planted some wheat, just broadcast it with a little hand spreader over this area, which is probably up to where the tractor is up there. Getting close to an acre maybe. So you can see it has germinated and it's coming up. There's a lot of it that hasn't germinated, so I'm hoping for another rain. You can see it here. I did see some deer tracks, and deer have been coming in for it. But I'll turn the cattle in here. You can see where the electric fence is over there. I'll move the electric fence and fence off this area so they can get in here and get to the wheat. Or maybe I'll actually just build another fence here, just so they can be in here for an hour or two a day once the wheat gets going good. And then I'll start feeding the hay this winter, and I'll try to feed it in different areas over where there's no grass. Try to seed it with the wheat, with the hay that I bought. And then once this gets going, I'll come in here and pick up all these rocks. But I'll leave them for now until grass gets established here. They'll help hold the soil together on this steep hill. But you can see the wheat's coming up pretty good. I planted it last week, and where it's up, it's 2.5 inches tall now, so it's doing pretty good. And then I fertilized all of this with that same hand spreader. I put down 100 pounds of pasture fertilizer that I bought at Tractor Supply, and it's rained and most of that fertilizer's dissolved. You can see some hasn't dissolved completely, but everything's greening up pretty good. And this soil is so poor, you can see, but stuff is starting to spring up now that I fertilized it, and